Don't be fooled by the Southern accent. John Kennedy, Senator from Louisiana, Yale Law, Oxford. He speaks with a Bayou accent, but someone who was a prosecutor in Louisiana years ago. He waited 90 minutes that day. Other senators asked about cybersecurity, Chinese espionage, and Russian disinformation. Patel gave each of them prepared answers. He looked at his watch twice. He looked relaxed. At 3:47 p.m., Kennedy took the microphone. "Director Patel, I want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein." The room changed. Everyone leaned forward. And then Kennedy asked a question that no one had asked. He lifted a phone record. He read a date. And he asked, 2 days after speaking with Trump's lawyers, 47 Epstein documents were reclassified. Is this a coincidence? Watch the entire video, because this hearing is critical in terms of both the questions they asked and the unanswered questions. But to grasp the weight of those questions, one needs to understand how Kennedy reached that phone record. Chapter 1. Kennedy's Method. John Kennedy took the stage. He wasn't after a political show. He could ask questions boldly with his LSU and Oxford law background and Louisiana prosecutorial experience. He had a blue-covered folder of about 40 pages, placed it on the table, pressed his hand on it. He didn't have to open it. Patel was ready with his usual demeanor and lawyers, but Kennedy's method was different. He built the questions layer by layer, each answer forming the basis for the next question, and the entire structure was aimed at a single target, the phone record. Section 2. 2,300 documents and 4%. Kennedy started slowly. Director Patel, how many documents does the FBI have related to the Epstein investigation? It's hard to quantify that number, Senator. The investigation is substantial. I don't want an article. I want a number. Approximately how many documents? Patel looked at his lawyers. Both were dressed in dark suits, as if they would rather be anywhere else. Without reviewing our internal database, you are the FBI director. Are you saying you don't have a rough idea of the number of Epstein files you are sitting on? Without proper context. Kennedy leaned forward. Then let me provide some context. According to a Freedom of Information Act request my office made 6 months ago, the FBI is holding approximately 2,300 documents related to the Epstein investigation. Is this figure correct? He waited for 5 seconds. 10 seconds. Patel shook his head. This figure is within the overall range. How many of these 2,300 documents were shared with the public? After appropriate redaction procedures, a limited number. How many? Patel's jaw tightened. Approximately 90 documents were published in redacted form. 90. Kennedy left the number in the hall. From 2,300 to 90. That's about 4%, Director Patel. 4%. What is it that the American people should not see in the remaining 96%? It seems your message is empty. Could you please provide the text you'd like me to translate? If you want to follow this kind of political and institutional analysis, subscribe to our channel and keep the notifications on. Let's continue. Chapter 3. Ongoing Investigation. Defense Patel began her classic explanation. These documents contain sensitive information related to ongoing investigations, national security concerns, and the privacy rights of individuals who have not yet been charged with a crime. And Kennedy, like someone calmly directing traffic rather than being aggressive, raised her hand and said, I stand there. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. The investigation is closed. Then which ongoing investigation are you protecting? Patel shifted. For the first time, he changed his position in 20 minutes. There are secondary issues under review. Side issues. Kennedy smiled. He wasn't friendly. Director Patel, I am just a simple country lawyer. I practiced law in Louisiana for years. Help me understand this. If the main investigation is closed and the main subjects are either dead or in prison, what exactly are these side issues? And more importantly, who are they protecting? Senator, I cannot discuss the details of ongoing FBI operations in an open setting. Kennedy slowly nodded. As if he had been expecting this answer, as if he wanted this answer. I understand. Then let's ask a different question.
Chapter 4.
The Reclassification Issue. Kennedy asked, "How many documents related to Epstein were reclassified from public to restricted status after you became FBI director?" And Patel replied, "I'm not aware of any systematic reclassification." To which Kennedy pulled out a document from the folder and added, "This is an internal FBI memo dated February 8th, marked for official use only during your second month as director, but my office obtained it through proper channels." He lifted it. "Do you want me to read it?" Both of Patel's lawyers leaned forward. One of them whispered something. Patel nodded slightly. Kennedy was already reading. Quote, "Following a director-level review, the materials below, although approved for potential release under FOIA, have been reclassified as law enforcement information and removed from the release queue." End of quote. He placed the memorandum on the table. Director Patel, this memorandum lists 47 documents. 47 documents that were reviewed multiple times before you became director and approved for release by Justice Department lawyers and classification experts. Then you came along, and suddenly these became very dangerous for the American people. What changed? Patel began to explain. These reclassification decisions are based on updated risk assessments and these documents had been reviewed multiple times by career FBI agents. It had been approved. Then you showed up and it was reclassified. So what changed? The documents did not change. You said the risk assessment methodology changed. Okay, who changed it? Why? Who changed? Why? Chapter 5. External Pressure Question. Kennedy's voice lowered, calmer but more dangerous. "I will ask you a direct question and expect a direct answer. Did someone outside the FBI ask you to reclassify these documents?" "No." "Did someone from the White House contact you about the Epstein files?" "Standard interagency coordination occurs on various issues." "Did someone from Donald Trump's legal team contact you about these files?" "I don't specifically remember anything about that." "The FBI director doesn't remember whether he spoke with Trump's lawyers about the Epstein files." Kennedy raised his eyebrows. "There's a saying in the South, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck." But he hadn't reached that point yet. First, she returned to her folder. Chapter 6. Phone Record. Kennedy stood up and, with a demeanor we had never seen in any previous hearing, looked at Patel and said, "Director Patel, I have been patient and kind. But now I will speak directly because the American people deserve direct answers." He lifted another document. "This is a phone record. February 23rd, 2247. A call has been made from your personal cell phone to a number registered to a law firm in New York, Kasowitz Benson Torres. Do you know who this firm represents?" Patel's face had completely drained of color. "As part of my duties, I meet with many lawyers. Director Patel, this office represents Donald Trump." He paused. "And according to this record, 3 weeks after becoming FBI director, you spoke with them for 17 minutes, 2 days before the reclassification of 47 Epstein documents." He put the phone record on the table. "Now, once again, did someone connected to Donald Trump ask you to bury the Epstein files? Did someone connected to Donald Trump ask you to bury the Epstein files?" Chapter 7. 15 seconds of silence. The silence stretched on, maybe 15 seconds. Time drags on like this when you watch someone's defense crumble before your eyes. Patel finally spoke. "Senator, that meeting was completely separate and unrelated to this issue." "Stop." Kennedy sat down slowly, as if he had all the time in the world. "Director Patel, I'm from Louisiana. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it is probably not a chicken." He leaned forward. "You reclassified documents that would expose powerful people. You did it right after meeting with Trump's lawyers, and now you're sitting here saying it's a coincidence. Do I look like I was born yesterday and grew up today? Do I look like I was born yesterday and grew up today?" Chapter 8. The Final Question. Kennedy gathered his documents. He had one last question. "Director Patel, I have one last question. Reminding you that you are under oath, I want you to think very carefully before answering." Are there documents in the Epstein files that directly link Donald Trump to criminal activity? Yes or no? Senator, I cannot comment on the content of classified material in an open setting. I don't want you to describe the contents. I'm asking whether they exist. Yes or no? Are those documents available? The FBI does not have the function of making an assessment based on documents for indictment or exoneration. This is not an answer. Yes or no? Director Patel, are those documents available? Senator Kennedy, I must respectfully decline to answer that question in this setting. Kennedy shook his head, as if this was exactly what he wanted. He turned to the cameras, not to Patel, but directly to the cameras. Those watching at home, the FBI director could have just denied that there was no evidence linking Donald Trump to Epstein's criminal activities. He could have said no. He didn't. Demeti. Chapter 9. Public Reaction. The clips spread instantly. Both conservative and liberal media framed this trial differently. Legal commentators debated the significance of the phone record claim. Constitutional law experts analyzed the meaning of the right to remain silent. At this point, a critical distinction needs to be made. Chapter 10. Claim or reality? Verified fact. The FBI held approximately 2,300 Epstein documents, and Patel acknowledged that around 90 of these were made public. Kennedy revealed the existence and date of a phone record. Unverified claims. The content of the phone record and the subject of the conversation, its connection to the reclassification of 47 documents, and the result of Patel's unanswered final question. Trump note. He has no allegations regarding the Epstein connection, denies being aware of any criminal activities. Patel's lack of response does not prove the accuracy of the claim. Kennedy's aim was to show a pattern among documented facts, and the true meaning of this pattern will only become clear through independent investigation and legal proceedings. Sun. 3 minutes and an unanswered question. 3 minutes. From the moment Kennedy asked for the 47 documents to Patel leaving the last question unanswered. What happened during this process? The 4% publication rate was recorded in the minutes. A reclassification memorandum was presented to the public. A phone record was brought to the forefront, and the FBI director did not answer the last question with a simple yes or no. This is not evidence of a crime, but it is an unanswered question, and unanswered questions create lasting reference points in accountability discussions. Kennedy knew this, and that was exactly what he was aiming for. If you have followed this analysis up to this point and want to keep up with the content on corporate accountability, subscribe to our channel and keep the notifications on. We will continue to analyze the developments of this process here. You can share your thoughts in the comments. What does an unanswered question mean in a congressional hearing? See you in the next video.